Hey guys, so you asked, and it is finally here. I am finally going to be going over Jin. So, Jin is one of the better dark units in the game. It's hard pressed to call him the best. His damage is definitely not among the best. However, where Jin really shines is his utility and his ability to just auto MP stages while you do something else. So let's take a quick look at his Kaigan and get going with it. So for his Kaigan, as you can see, he does have gate 5 in Japan, so I will go over all of the gates, but the first thing I'll do is go over the gates that you guys will be getting relatively shortly. And as always, gate 1 is for HP and attack stats. And his gate 2 is going to upgrade his spy passive from 10 agility 15 dex to 10 agility 30 dex, 10% HP, and 10% physical attack. So basically the idea is by using this passive you can get a little bit of extra physical attack and a little bit of extra HP while not giving up any of that juicy agility. Jin is relatively fast, but there are some nuances to this which I'll go over in a little bit. Now, for his gate 3, should you max his gate 3? In my opinion, yes. And there's a reason for this, and it is because you want to auto in MP. If you want to host and you want your Jin to do extra damage, you're going to need his leader skill. His leader skill will upgrade to 40% HP, plus 20 dark all damage, and plus 5 evasion rate. The evasion rate is, he doesn't really want to evade attacks per se if he's doing the auto MP, but it's a necessary evil considering the plus 20 dark is going to go a long way making sure you get those hits in that you need to get in. Otherwise, it's just basically like a 50-20 leader skill, just has 40% HP instead of 50. And this is going to be a really good holdover leader skill until you get your hands on some better leader skills, for sure. Now, as far as his gate 4 and 5, so for those of you who weren't aware, recently I hear the encryption of the data in Tagatame was changed, and the Japanese database has not been updated since. So I do not have exact numbers for this. So we're just kind of going by descriptions. So gate 4, like always, is for stats, and gate 5 is going to upgrade one of his skills in his Job Plus that I'll go over here in a little bit. So, Jin's Nenso. So I'm pretty sure I've been over this Nenso before, but we'll just do a one over it real quick. So its base stats are physical attack, and it's going to give dex to the Watatsumi group as seen by the 32 dex there. Now there is another group here that's going to consist of Jin and Yomi, where it's going to give 48 attack. Remember that mine has 0 limit breaks on it, and that's because of how great the vision ability is. The vision ability is going to give him a nice AoE that he wouldn't have otherwise, and it's just really nice to have on a lot of different units, especially dark units. So for his gear, so you have a couple different options for the weapons. I personally prefer the Jewel Kunai, and the reason I like using the Jewel Kunai is because it has 20 starting jewels, and that will let me use his easily use his weapon ability right off the bat with absolutely no need to gather jewels. However, you could also run the Clock Up Kunai if you wish. However, I do think the Clock Up Kunai is kind of redundant because of his VCR, which I will go over here in just a moment. But otherwise, that's 50 attack, 10 speed, and 10 jewel gain. Of course, you could always just run his equipment, and that'll give him a nice single target damage attack. But the stats on it are relatively lackluster by comparison. So for your armor, I suggest regen armor. If you have Ultima's Scarf, that's not a bad option either. You basically give up a little bit of base HP and in exchange have a slightly higher regen. The longer the fight goes on, the better the Ultima Scarf is going to be, but seeing as that is a limited Nenso VCR, getting it is another issue altogether. This will also give him 5 jewel gain. Spies already have relatively high jewel gain, so it's not like you need to get a bunch of it per se. I don't think he really needs the raid pouch or anything, but it's just something nice to have. Now, as for his last accessory, you're going to want to probably run his VCR. This is going to increase the damage from his other weapon abilities, and it also has 13 speed and 5 jewel regen on it, which is going to be quite helpful in keeping his jewels topped off. So as far as other options for him go, there isn't a ton of variability, and I just don't really see a ton of options for his kit, you obviously could, do I have it in here? It should be around here somewhere. You could obviously run the Kudito VCR, which will reduce his cast times. However, I don't think that's very necessary because of the skill that he gets on his Job Plus, that once again I'll be going over here in just a moment. But it is an option. Other than that, there just really aren't any other great options for him in my opinion. Most of his attacks are going to actually use a magic modifier, so you could always run like Fiona VCR maybe, but otherwise there's just not a huge reason to run anything else on him. However, this is for his Spy Job Plus setup. So there's a couple different ways to run him. Now, once you have his Job Plus, you'll probably never run him Warrior, with the exception of one event that I did. And generally speaking, if you want to run him Warrior, I suggest getting his speed as low as possible so you can abuse the Berserker reaction, or sorry, the Warrior reactive. Anyways, as far as his loadout goes, you're going to want to run his Spy Plus main, and you're going to want to run Warrior Sub. I think the Warrior Sub is far superior to the Spy Sub in all circumstances. You should almost never run it. However, the counter that you run is going to depend on what you're doing. If you're autoing on like a PvE map, I highly suggest removing your Gigantus counter, and that is because you're going to kill your own team. I know that you already have this counter, and you probably have seen Jin kill your own team a couple times now if you use it. So my loadout is slightly different than what you're going to have in Global. Now, I do run his speed, his enhanced passive from his Kaigan. However, I run the Sword Master passive with the 50% attack. What is it? Royal Garuda, I believe. Now, there's a couple different things you can run here. In general, your go-to bread and butter is going to be Chopping Spirit from Warrior. However, you should not underestimate Single Blade. And you might be asking, Mal, why on earth would I run Single Blade? Did you see how much speed that reduces? And to that I say, that's the point. The whole point of running Single Blade is to make your Jin go slower so he can get more counters before you have to recast the Zerk buff. And also, he just does a lot more damage with it. In fact, I often ran him with the Single Blade passive, even in normal content, just because of the raw damage that it provides. Now, we have a better passive now, so we run that instead, although I do kind of lament the loss of Single Blade. I haven't actually tested him as a Swordmaster, but why would I? Because I have him as a Spy. There's still a couple more tricks that we have up the sleeve here, but we're going to hop in the map here to show them off. So I'm going to be running Jin with his own leader skill, so that way you can get an appreciation for his leader skill. Not that you can see the difference, because I stopped running it with and without because it takes too long, and I'm way too long-winded as it is. So the first thing we need to do is take a quick look at his Spy Plus, and the major change to his Spy Plus is he now has this 75 joule Dark AoE, and it is a 3x3 box in front of him, and he also has this 20 joule skill down here. Otherwise, the rest of his kit remains unchanged to my knowledge. I'm sure there might be a difference here or there, but these are the major changes that we care about. Let's just quick gather some jewels here just so I have them on hand and begin to show this off. So if we run down here so we can see what the damage is like against a light enemy, just use this real quick, and as you can see, about 5,000 damage. Now this is going to cast Dark Resist down on the enemy, so your other dark units will be able to hit more damage on that enemy after he's attacked. That is very nice for raiding, just so you know. But that really, 75 joules is a lot of joules, you know? So let's go ahead and use this 20 joule skill and see what it does. So now all of his magic skill casts have become 0 joules, and they have also had their power increased. So that's an additional 4,400 damage on a light unit. This is from his Gate 5. The upgrade to his Gate 5 made that skill have a skill attack boost. So well, basically what I'm trying to say is after he gets his Gate 5, whenever he uses that and then attacks with one of his spy skills, he's going to do additional damage. So you guys already know what the other attacks look like, but you might not know what this one looks like. Going to quick gather some more jewels here. Let's see that from the front, just so that way we can see it a bit nicer. Now, there is another part of Jin's kit that we need to go over, and that is his master ability. And Jin has a relatively special master ability. Not only did it give him more attack than he already had, if I remember correctly, but it also changed the way his teleports work. And this is really cool, because this is one of the reasons why Jin is such a great utility unit. So if you do not move first and you use a TP, like say the Veil, it lets you move afterwards. That's insane. Just think about the ground you can cover with this, right? So you TP once, you can cover like 4 or 5 squares. And then you can move again an additional 4. This gives Jin one of the highest move ranges in the game, bar none. The only unit I think can get a bit farther is Sharon after she's buffed her move and then uses a TP charge attack. So, yeah, it's pretty insane what Jin is capable of doing. Jin is not really a great auto unit. He's just going to cast a bunch of skills that are likely not going to hit because they've got cast times, and basically just make a fool of himself. However, just through the sheer stats that he has, he's still going to be better than most units, even on auto, because he is not going to go down super easily, and he's going to be able to put in a lot of work after he runs out of casts. But let's take a quick look at the Nenso vision ability. I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but there it is. I probably shouldn't have completed that because I didn't want to waste the AP, but whatever, it's just 10 AP. So, just as a recap, what does Jin bring to your party? Well, Jin is basically going to bring magic modifier damage, as well as good dark AoE, and at least half decent damage. He's no charge up unit. Just get the idea that Jin is going to be some kind of major super carry out of your head. He's much better at cleaning up trash and performing odd tasks on the map. Just very good with the utility. He does have a Veil, which makes him relatively special among dark units. It's hard to get a good dark Veil unit out there. I mean, we do have Hozuki, but then you have to run her as Professor, and I only use Hozuki in maps where I absolutely need to Veil a ton of people right away. His access to his TP and move right afterwards is going to give him a ton of range to do whatever he really wants to do, and he really just does not die easily on the map. As far as the auto MP strat, all you're going to need to do is hop into the map, use the Berserk skill on your warrior sub, and just watch Jin kill everyone, including his allies. And that's really all I have to say about Jin. One of the reasons why I put this video off for so long is Jin is super straightforward. There isn't a ton of variance to what he does. I will say that the warrior Jin I used to get a particular event done in a certain number of turns. And I managed to get a top 100 ranking for that event using him like that. But other than that, I just don't really see much of a reason to use him in any other method. So that's really all I have to say about Jin for today. So thanks for watching, everyone. I am probably going to have at least one more video coming out today, and I'll have some more videos coming up. With the Japanese database being down, unable to get numbers on new units, and just in general, I haven't had a ton to talk about recently, which is why I haven't made that many videos. But I wanted to show off Jin because I finally did get him to 5 on all of his gates, so I figured now is as good a time as any, especially with What a Babel. Maybe not coming soon, but is definitely coming up in global. So thanks for watching as always, guys, and I will see you next time.